Well, good morning, everybody. Today we are out in Topaz Mountain, which is west and north of Delta, Utah, and we're going to be hiking up to some of these rock formations up here on the wall. I don't know if you can see those lighter sections up there. We're going to be hiking up there, and we're going to be looking for red beryl today. This area we're going to is about half a mile from the camp that we stayed at, and I'm hiking with Eric Poulin today. So he's kind of acting as my guide today, and he's going to take me up to some of these areas and show us how to dig for red beryl. So we have about a 600-foot climb. Should be pretty fun. I just found my first piece of topaz. It's a little rough looking, but it's a nice sized one. And I just saw this in the trail as I'm hiking along. If you come up here, make sure you look down. You never know what you're going to find.
All right, so we're almost there. We've got, the least steep part done. Now we've just got the steepest part ahead of us, and you can see up this crack. There's a little bit of an adit up there, a little cave, and that's where we're headed, and that's where we're hoping to find the red beryl. And up at this zone, where this elevation is where the red beryl is found in this zone. Not down so much or up, but just kind of generally right there. So,
And
the red beryl zone.
And what is all the white material that contains the
That's
red
all
beryl?
Rhyolite.
Rhyolite.
Rhyolite. It's a volcanic rock.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll go up however you want to do it. I came up these rocks, so it's kind of like a one at a time thing here.
Okay. Just in case you didn't hear what he said, take it one at a time. So if somebody dislodges some rocks, there's a lot of loose boulders and scree that we got to climb up to get here. So one at a time. Make sure you're safe about it. I found a little path, comes up along here and then follows this band over to here, so you can kind of avoid some of this, but you're still going to have to climb up a bunch of this talus to get up to that little opening up there. Nice looking cave right up there. How far back does it go?
I haven't been up to that top one yet on this trip, so I don't know how far it's dug out.
Oh, we're just going to the one right below it, huh?
Well, we're actually going to that top one because now nobody's here.
Ah.
It was,
Okay.
Taken, let's say, last 2 days. So, yeah, probably no more than 10 or 15 feet.
So yeah, I guess that top one's the good one to go to. But every time he's been up here, there's been somebody up there digging, so this morning is our chance though. Well, we got up to the first collection of caves, or I should say of digs. So this is where people have come in to this deposit and they go through and they chip away at it with hand tools. You're going to see us do some of that a little later today. This is a lower pocket that Eric was working yesterday, but we're going to go up to that one up there. One of the things you definitely are going to enjoy about this view is absolutely spectacular. Looking out in this direction is towards Delta and the Canyon Mountains. We pan around here. They call this caldera in here the amphitheater. All right, so we are up at this other cave, and this is a pretty steep scramble, so take your time, be careful about it, but it's definitely doable. I did it one-handed because I was carrying the camera with me. But just watch what you're doing. Make sure you don't roll boulders down onto people below you. That's why you should just go one person at a time in a lot of these areas. So here's where the deposits of red beryl occur. And we're going to come over here into this cave. We get to work in the shade today. Oh, wow.
Welcome to the shade.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. This has been dug out quite a bit in here.
Yeah. This is the back of the wall, and we're probably still working. This is the vein, if you notice, followed this, this sort of trend. I'd have to look at the map, but you can see on the mountainside the gully that we came up, and the vein of red beryl is probably running along this.
I'm going to pull out a few tools here, and I'll show you what Eric had recommended for me to bring up here. And we'd probably recommend, if you're to come up here and do this, you want to bring the same or a similar set of tools. The tools that I brought up here, I brought a rock hammer. You're going to want some kind of a hammer to break chunks off, of course. Eric also recommended to bring a couple of different screwdrivers. I brought this one here that I can use for prying and getting into certain cracks, and then I have a smaller one that I can also use for getting into smaller cracks. And then this is a little picking tool I have in some of my automotive tools. You can find these at any of the automotive parts places, but this will be helpful for getting into really small places and kind of scraping and cleaning out around any crystals should we find any. And he also recommended to bring either a film container or something small like this and maybe pad it with some toilet paper so you can put any red beryl crystals that you find in here. And he also recommended to bring a bigger box. I have this one right here, again with some toilet paper in there in case we come across any more delicate crystals or anything like that that you want to make sure you protect from getting bounced around on the hike down.
These couple have come out.
Oh, wow.
Just in the scene so far. But, what you're...
Okay, so these are a couple little crystals he just found here. This is topaz, huh?
Yep, this is topaz. It's got this sherry kind of color to it. And then when this is exposed to sunlight over time, if you find it out in the wash, these will just kind of turn like a clear color like quartz. When you find that, you kind of also want to pay attention for red beryl because you'll find it along with the topaz sometimes. And if there's good color in that topaz, if you're pulling the crystals of topaz out, you might also get a red beryl. So obviously just watch all the rocks at the overhang, don't dig on those too much, pretty obvious. What you're really looking for is like white clay, like soft clay that you can, just poke away with your screwdriver. So look for seams, like you can see how this rock is going here and it looks like there's a seam. And then if you start poking around, you see it is soft, and whereas this is solid, this is soft. So you can find them in the seam here. You might find them in like the transition zone, like really close to the seam. But the point is this white clay, they say, is kind of the key to finding the red beryl. So you might find it just suspended in this clay. I find topaz sometimes just in the clay. The other thing that happens when you're poking around is that you'll start poking around and you can just see all these little bugs here, little cavities. So sometimes you'll open up a little cavity, and even inside the clay, there'll be like a nodule of softer like clay or whatever, or material like the rhyolitic sand or something. So when you get to that, you want to poke around, and that'll be darker sometimes. And then, you could find crystals in that.
Okay.
So you'll kind of notice when you're poking around, everything feels consistent, and then all of a sudden it goes into something soft. You want to explore that. Wherever that direction that's going, just clear that out. And then that's when your crystals will start falling out. And they'll be up on the top too sometimes. You gotta put your finger up there and almost tickle it or whatever, All
right.
Gotta coax those crystals out. So that's, and then really the rest of it's just kind of putting in the time, just poking and prying. And every piece of rock that you pry off, just check and see if there's a bug on it, where there could be a crystal growing. You'll either see them in the rock you pull out, or if they're falling down, or in here. So if you're just going crazy, you might be a red beryl crystal in here, and you just got to kind of keep a sharp eye out while you're doing it, because it'll be gone really quick. If you.
I'm pretty sure that's why those guys have those tarps up here.
probably.
Yeah, all of a sudden makes a lot of sense because, yeah, they disappear pretty quick in the ground here.
This part here sucks. Like the way they've been doing it, they've probably been setting it up differently, but like in other parts, it's like that adit down there. Like over here, this wouldn't be so bad because everything falls and then it kind of goes into a little,
Yeah.
when it's all fine, it's good. Like in here, when that falls, your fine stuff, you should have no problem finding the stuff as it rolls down.
So I've been chipping away in that little pocket there with my screwdriver, and I ended up finding that thing right there. I mean, it's kind of what you were digging at there, nothing too special, but it's the first something I found.
Yep.
And that's a little piece of topaz.
That is. They call it sand topaz. It's kind of like the slang term they use.
Sand, okay, sand topaz.
It's basically, this is all rhyolite, and then, you know, the finer stuff on here, that sand, they just call it a rhyolitic sand.
Ah.
And that's just kind of the stuff that the pockets are made out of, and really just all the fine dust gets in a pocket, accumulates on that crystal.
So we came outside here for a little bit. We're going to work some of these cracks too. As you can see, people have been working these different areas and different seams in here. So we're going to get in here and chisel around for a little bit and see what we can find. So hopefully you can see this. So you can see there's this little cave up here that people have chiseled out. And this is the one Eric was working this one. He managed to find 4 whole and 1/2 pieces of red beryl in here. So we're going to do a little digging around in this and see what we can find. I will report back to you as soon as I find anything of interest. All right, I finally found one. My first red beryl. I don't know if you can see that in my hands. I will make sure I take pictures of this stuff and put it up so you can see these things a little more clear. So back in this area is where I found that one piece of red beryl. And I don't know if you can see over here, we managed to dig through to the other sides. See the light? There we go. But there unfortunately hasn't been that much red beryl in here. I think he pulled, what did you pull, 5 out of that, or 4.5 out of that area?
Yeah, yesterday, and then we got one or two out of it today?
Yeah, we did 1 today. But we're going to keep working on it. It's a slow process. Maybe 1 an hour if you're lucky. All right, so I'm about finished up here. I'm going to head back down to the car, and I think we're going to go and explore a couple of other areas around here where you can find various crystals. But we're going to leave Eric up here for a little bit longer. He's going to keep digging for that red beryl. Hopefully we'll find some. Hopefully he'll find some, and we'll have a nice picture show for you back down at camp a little bit later on. Yeah, so just keep in mind, coming down this can be a little tricky. It's steep. Probably want to use your hands. Maybe not carry a camera with you like I am. Yeah, we got some more people coming up here too. This place gets real popular on the weekends, so I would recommend come out on a weekday. You most likely will have it all to yourself. A lot of this is negotiating this little rock couloir here. Well, I like to go over and use this rocky area to go up and down. There are trails, and you can go right up the scree slopes there, but I think this area is a little safer. Slippery rocks. The last couple of days we've been here, there hasn't been anybody. We pretty much had the whole place to ourselves, but today is a Friday, so I think you've got a lot of people coming down here for the weekend. But that's all right. Lots of room, lots of campsites. There are a lot of different trails here. There's not one in particular to take, but you'll find that there are some that are more obvious and more well used. Yeah, be careful of those rocks. We're heading up to this saddle right up here. We're going to follow some of this band that goes up there, and we're going to go up there and dig around for a little bit. Hopefully this storm will hold off raining too hard, but if it starts to rain, we might have to turn around and go back. These are some of the other areas where people have been digging. This is just up from our campsite, which is just down there. So not very far, certainly not as high up as you have to hike to get to those other areas. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of rain coming this direction. So there's some really interesting patterns and erosion going on here in these rocks. It runs all over here. This is really cool looking. We're going to go over here and follow Eric, and we're going to head up to that right over there and maybe do some digging. A mini arch. This is a layer we're going to poke around in for a few minutes. We're going to come up on top of this thing. Check out the view. Oh, I've got a view of camp from a slightly different angle. We're going to hang out in this alcove for a few minutes. I don't know if you can see all that rain heading our direction. And we kind of got lucky. The brunt of the storm is over there. Hopefully we're only going to get sprinkled on over here. But we're going to wait over here for a little bit. Well, good morning, everybody. Well, the adventure is over. I've got to head back up to the city. We packed up camp this morning and headed out. If you've ever been thinking about checking out Topaz Mountain, I would highly recommend this area. There is a ton of really good camping sites here. And even if you're not necessarily looking to come out here and try to find some crystals, it is a fantastic place just to come out and hike and camp. It's absolutely beautiful out here. You can see the Topaz Mountain behind me. That's the caldera, or what they call the amphitheater. But this whole valley out here is just gorgeous. You've got lots of really nice views. And if you're into rock hounding, there are quite a few different rock hounding areas out here. Just get online and Google for rock hounding opportunities here in Millard County, Utah. These two are the red beryl that I found yesterday. Actually, Eric found the smaller one laying on the ground, and then I dug that one out of the side of the rocks. And then I also found these really nice pieces of topaz right here. This one even has points on both ends. And then, of course, this is topaz that was just found laying on the ground. As you can see, this topaz kind of has an amber color to it. When it sits in the sun for too long, it gets bleached out, and you'll find topaz that is just clear like this. So it's kind of interesting. But this is a really, really cool area. I would highly recommend to come out and check it out. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give this video a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos about camping and hiking out here on America's public lands, consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already, and you can join us for another adventure next time. We'll see you guys then.